Welcome to a Delco Nerd Network Hot Take. If you haven't seen a hot take before, well, it's where a few friends get in a basement, give our thoughts, give our opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game. Today, it's going to be a game, and that game is Returnal. Here to discuss a newcomer guest, Delaware County's own Jon Caywood. Jon, how the hell are you, man? It's good to see you.
What's up, dude?
So, yeah, I feel like I have been trying to get you on the podcast for a while, so I'm glad you're finally here.
Yeah,
and you're ready to chat.
It's got the vaccine in me. I'm ready to do new stuff.
So as I was talking to you before, I want to start doing icebreakers with new guests. I feel like it just kind of makes sense instead of just jumping into whatever we're gonna talk about. So since we're talking about Returnal today, Returnal is like the weirdest game ever. So I figured, why not ask Jon? Jon, what's like one of the weirdest, like, I was gonna say weirdest games you've played, but then I'm like, why not expand it to like, what's the weirdest, like, maybe thing at media you've consumed? So it could be music or a movie or a show or a game. What's something weird that you've enjoyed that stuck with you?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, I'm like a new David Lynch fan.
Okay.
So he gets pretty weird sometimes.
Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I finished Twin Peaks final season like last month. And he goes pretty avant-garde on episode 8 of season 3. It's literally just like an art house film, like just in the middle of the season. 'Cause like, I guess, I don't know, I guess I shouldn't like spoil anything, but basically it's like he sets up like the beginning of the universe. Like, I
didn't see that coming. Like, I know Twin Peaks, but I don't like.
Yeah.
So
the main antagonist of the show is basically like the most evil entity in existence, and
big things.
This episode shows like when and how like this entity was created, and also how the most pure like and light entity was created, like kind of like at the same time.
Wow, very Kingdom Hearts-esque here.
Exactly. So
cool.
That was very weird. Season 3, episode 8, Twin Peaks.
So they came back with like the end of that show, right? Like that last season wasn't filmed like when it actually okay.
Season 2.
We don't have to get in the weeds on it.
Yeah,
but
season 2 was like 1991, and then
Yeah.
like the last episode, one of the characters says something like to the other main character, like, see you in 25 years, or like you'll be able to like escape this like dark realm in 25 years, and then 25 years later in real time was when...
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
That's really cool. Sorry for my computer volume is not down. That's nuts. I kind of figured it was like, oh, it got canceled, and now David Lynch, Twin Peaks, I feel like lives in like a zeitgeist a little bit.
Well,
so he would come back and be like, all right, let's finish this up. So that's cool to hear that it's not actually that.
The season 3 like wasn't like confirmed or anything, but they like just the stars aligned and they like decided to do it, and it just they made it happen 25 years later, so it like canonically like it made sense like for the show.
Sure.
And obviously like all the characters are older, and it's sick.
Yeah.
And weird.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good answer. So yeah, let's talk about Returnal, man. You're not done yet, which I think is, like I was mentioning to you before, kind of like an interesting point to talk about, but you didn't finish, did you beat Nemesis yet or no?
No.
Okay.
I keep having trouble just getting to the fight.
That was my issue.
Yeah.
And I guess, since we're talking about it, I feel like this game's difficulty. Returnal is cool. But it's got a lot of things that I just like, I'm not sure work. And I think one of them is the fact that like the first boss is like kind of a challenge. Not too bad, not too easy.
Yeah.
The second boss, one shot. Nothing.
It was
Ixion?
It was actually the opposite for me.
Really?
Yeah, the first boss was like a few tries, and then the second boss was probably like 10.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then I got to Nemesis, and I just had the exact same problem you did, whereas I've only been to him once, and I just can't get back.
Yeah.
That was my issue, and I'm like, why is this so hard? And I'm like, I feel like there's like a difficulty imbalance. Maybe I'm wrong. This is like really just like a kind of like an opinion. I feel like I've listened to a lot of people talk about this game, and like everyone's kind of like in the same ballpark with certain opinions, but like they vary from place to place. But yeah, like that was a place where I got stuck, and I guarantee you a lot of people won't finish this game because of that juncture.
I'm at the point where I don't know if I'm gonna finish it, just because. I mean, mainly right now, I'm just not in like the headspace to like deal with like failure after failure, you know?
Yeah.
So, and like I definitely was like when initially jumping into the game, but I took a break to play Resi 8, and then like it was another couple weeks after that until I like picked it back up. I forget, because I like started to play Last of Us 2 again for like. Because they did the PS5 patch.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, I'm like, once I got back in, like, I realized like, where is this boss fight? Like, because I forgot to get to the fight. You have to like get to the top of like the Citadel Tower or whatever, and then like a
derelict
bridge.
Citadel.
Yeah, and then like the bridge expands like back at one of like the other areas around the Citadel. So when I went back to play, I forgot about that bridge. So I went all the way back to the top of the tower again.
And you were like,
and then I realized like
what's going on?
I didn't have to do that again. And then I get to the fight, and the first phase of the fight is fine. Like,
yeah, it's pretty okay.
Yeah,
and,
like,
then the fight gets nuts.
Every time I've gotten to the fight, like I do the first phase, and then the second phase is unreal. Like, I just don't know which platform to jump to because they all like separate and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can only imagine what the third phase is if I ever get there.
It's same but crazier.
Okay. Yeah, like,
not to spoil too much.
To get to the fight, for me, the one enemy type that continuously takes me out are those drones.
Dude, that shoot the rockets,
the homing missiles.
I don't even want to talk about.
And then
those
like
things.
the self-destruct move they do.
Yeah.
So
this is also your first roguelike, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Like I didn't play. What was the other one? Resogun.
Oh yeah, from Housemarque, Resogun, and I think they have another game. But yeah, like I haven't played Hades. Like I haven't played Shovel Knight. Like roguelikes are really never a genre that I'm like, yeah, this looks interesting.
Well, is like Hyper Light Drifter kind of?
I think so. Maybe
I played that. That's pretty tough at times, but not like it's like way more forgiving than this.
Yeah. This game is pretty difficult. I gotta admit, and as like I feel like one of the points I wanted to bring up was like, you know, PS5 is still new. We still don't have a ton of games for it. Would I recommend somebody who hey, I just got a PS5, what game should I get? I don't think Returnal is one of them.
No.
I feel like this is a very niche game for a very select few people, and also it's $70, and I like the game. We haven't really talked into the general thoughts yet. We kind of jumped right in, but like I do enjoy Returnal and I like what it does, but I also have a lot of like weird gripes with it that I just feel like I'm conflicted about, which makes me like pause to recommend it. But the other thing is like it's $70. I don't really think this is a $70 game.
Yeah, I agree with that mostly. I think it's a $70 game in like the amount of time you can sink into it.
Good point.
Otherwise, yeah, like if you're kind of like on more of the casual spectrum like I am, like I'm not gonna like continuously put like 5-hour runs in for the game. Like I think
you can do that.
Yeah, like and definitely more. And I did do that like the first week that it came out. But like I think the genre of the game that it is kind of steers more toward not being a $70 game either.
Right, because Shovel Knight's definitely not a $60 game.
Yeah.
Hades, might be. Maybe it's like
Yeah.
$40, but like,
Yeah.
you know, from an indie studio as
Yeah,
well.
I think that's what's weird about this is it's like basically it's like an indie studio,
But it's like a AAA game.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think like production value also kind of it kind of like makes sense to be a $70 game. Mm-hmm. Because like the graphics are good and like,
Oh yeah,
like
those cutscenes, like that's really where you're seeing the graphics is like when you get these weird jumpy cutscenes in the beginning when Celine crashes the Helios, and they look great.
Oh yeah,
and like Housemarque again, an indie studio who's done like Resogun and games not in this caliber of like art style. So it's cool to see this indie company
yeah.
do these AAA graphics, and it's like, okay. And the game does, it may seem like AAA, but like once you get into it, it's like, okay, this game isn't as like grandiose as like maybe I thought.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing by
Yeah.
any means, especially after you beat it. And I'm going back through, and it's like I've seen like the biomes, like I know the biomes now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely know the first one.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that's the one I've spent the most time in playing because you go through it every
Yeah, you
single.
have to go through it.
But yeah. Oh man, I was gonna say something about the graphics and just like the tech. Yeah. The controller.
Gotta talk about the DualSense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What'd you think?
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, I guess it's the first title that like really took advantage of like everything that it can do.
Have you played Astrobot's Playroom?
Yeah.
Okay. I know
mean,
it's like a tech demo. It's like
yeah.
not really a game, but
I guess that's technically like
the first.
Yeah. But this definitely like kind of hits all the same marks in a way.
Yeah. You're really getting that, okay, this is what the DualSense can actually do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's, I mean, and it is
water.
cool. Yeah, the raindrops, like especially when you, they're really only noticeable as far as I can remember, like when you first spawn. In that first area, like that's the first thing you feel is the raindrops. Like that like, struck me pretty hard. Like the first time booting up. Yeah, that was really impressive. And then like, but later on, I guess they kind of, what's the word? I know I read an interview where they like didn't want to overwhelm the player with
these constant things
yeah,
going
so,
on.
Like later on, like you'll be like playing, and the rain's obviously like pitting and patting.
Yeah,
and you don't feel
Bitter
it.
Batter.
Yeah, like they kind of like shut that off. Like
yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the thing too, right? It is kind of gimmicky in a sense. It's like, and how far are you gonna go with the gimmick,
right?
Like through the whole game. Like I don't think for any future developers, like I don't think you can just make an entire game where the DualSense is like constantly like doing something very intense.
Exactly.
Like you're gonna hit a point where you're just gonna be like, all right, I feel like I'm like too busy like with my controller than I am with the fucking game.
Yeah.
I think Returnal does it enough, and I think, dude, I really like what they do with the triggers is unbelievable, because you're basically creating 2 more buttons on the controller.
Yeah.
With the half press and the full press. So for those who don't know, in Returnal, when you have guns, when you aim, it's a half press. Aim like lets you see like weaknesses, but it's also just like a zoom. And then your full press is your secondary fire, which depends on kind of like what the gun has. It could be like a sniper shot kind of thing, or like a heat seek, or like a mine, and there's a bunch of different things. But the full press, and you would hit right trigger or R2 to fire, that's how it would work. And it's just like, yeah, they found a way to make it like include another button. Like they probably would have had to like think about if it was on PS4, they would probably just have to do the controller scheme a little bit different to like include those kind of things.
Yeah. I mean, especially with like the alt fire, like I don't know what you would do. I guess they could use like the D-pad or something to like activate.
I'm trying to think, what does L1 do?
I know there's a button that just scans,
which is useless. What does it do?
Like
like I know what it does, but like what are you scanning for?
Like where the doorways are, I
It's
guess.
useless. It's so useless.
So they could easily do that, like just like take that
like
out.
a zoom.
Yeah, because it's weird when I think when you reach a certain what's the mechanic where like the more kills you get without getting hit.
Not proficiency. It's called adrenaline. Yes.
Yeah.
Adrenaline.
Like I think when you get to a certain, I think it's max adrenaline. That scans like the environment automatically.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't even think I noticed that.
I know, like when you get max adrenaline, like an orange pulse, like
I've noticed that. I thought
Yeah.
it was scanning. Like I know you can see enemies through walls. Like you see the red, like it's alive kind of thing. Like on the other side of
you
walls.
get that. Like I think you just get that.
That's like a 2.
Yeah, something like that. But so yeah, the whole scan feature, basically, I agree, it's pretty useless.
That's one thing I definitely wanted to bring up, and because I was playing like yesterday or like I think this week, and I'm like, why? Like I know what the scan, I know it's been here, but like, what's the point of it?
Yeah,
it's kind of goofy.
Yeah, I consistently forget that it's a function.
Right, because
I mean, I'm looking
useless.
Yeah, like
you see on the map.
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, the mini map that does get a lot of use.
Yeah. It's a little cluttered sometimes, but I think that's kind of part of the charm a little bit too.
Yeah.
It is kind of cluttered.
Yeah.
I don't know. One thing I wanted to go back to that you brought up was kind of like the 5-hour run kind of thing. And I wanted to talk to you basically. How many times were you in the middle of the run and you put the game on rest mode / how many times did Returnal update and then fuck your run up? That happened to me once, and that was like a big complaint on like Twitter that like it was like, yo, like I'm in the middle of a 6-hour run, I can't really stop. Rest mode is the only thing I do, and then you update the game and I lose the run. Like,
yeah,
and I was kind of thinking of this system, and I was like, is it good? And I'm kind of leaning towards no. It's cool. It plays into what the game is. But like in the grand scheme of things, if I gotta go, I gotta go.
Exactly.
How do I stop? Oh, well, okay, put it in rest mode. But what if I don't know, this isn't a real life example. What if my mom wants to use my PlayStation 5 or somebody else in my house wants to play something?
Yeah. You're done.
Right. Yeah. So did anything weird happen to you like that?
Luckily, no. Yeah, like initially when this whole kind of controversy started, I didn't really agree. I thought like the way it's all set up is cool. Like it forces you to like really commit to your runs.
Sure.
But then like especially when I came back to playing like after taking a break, like
You're like, what am I
especially
doing?
now that I'm having trouble, like all I want to do is like not only like be able to save, like if I want to jump to like a multiplayer game like in the middle of a run or something.
Yeah.
I've had that happen where like I want to play Knockout City, the great new dodgeball game.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
I want to play that, but like I'm in the middle of a run, so
And you're just kinda
I
like,
have to like tell my buddy like, yeah,
Give me like an hour or maybe 10
yeah,
minutes.
like or more realistically, like wait 5 minutes and I'll probably die.
yeah.
Which is what happened. So yeah, like I would love to be able to just save it, like a Dark Souls save and exit the game. But for Returnal, I don't expect there to be like checkpoints. I don't think checkpoints make sense.
Yeah, because I was reading that like on Twitter they were talking about how they were like, oh, we've heard your feedback, we're gonna try to maybe work on something that kind of gets around this, and I'm like, well, don't do that. I don't necessarily think that's the answer, even though I'm one of the people who are kind of like criticizing it, but I'm like, if this is your vision, it's your vision. Like, don't just be like, oh, like don't like feed the plebs who just want the game to be easier, you know? Like the point of the game is for it to be hard. Don't just like I remember there was a lot of debate around like if Sekiro was too hard when it came out, and I'm like, why are we having this conversation? And I remember sometimes it was like about accessibility, and it was just like, dude, if the game is hard, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, like take it or leave it. Like if you're not gonna finish it, you're not gonna finish it. If you're not good enough, you're not good enough. Which is kind of shitty to say, but like I've never really had that issue in the grand scheme of things. I've always gotten past the boss in Dark Souls or Sekiro or whatever it is. Maybe it took some time, but I finished. But it's just like, why are we like complaining about a game being too difficult and then being like, dev, make it easier? It's like it's not like an unfair thing. It's like this is just the way the game is.
Yeah, I agree that the vision shouldn't be sacrificed. But it does get dicey with like AAA titles. Like they're being made to like sell as many as possible.
To be appealing to a wide audience, right? But I don't think Returnal is that.
No.
Not that you're saying that, but...
No, it's definitely not. I think... I guess it is a title that's more of a risk for Sony. I guess it would be a risk for anyone.
Yeah. I don't think you're wrong saying that.
And I like that. I like that this game exists and that like it's a first-party Sony title. Like that's cool that they like, you know, had faith in Housemarque and like...
Yeah.
You know.
A studio... Dude, this is my first Housemarque game. I didn't play Resogun or any of the other games they had. I know they had a Vita title. Yeah, and like they really kind of put faith in Housemarque, a studio that's kind of proven themselves, but they were like, all right, really prove yourself. Like, let's see what you can do with this idea. And I think Housemarque executed well. I think there's a lot of like, again, I feel like I'm very conflicted on certain things in the game that I'm just like, I don't really like this, but like I still like the game. I just have like I'm just like I enjoy the runs. I enjoy everything, but like at some point like something I'm like this just isn't sitting well with me, but like I still beat it and I still enjoyed the game. I don't know. I'm like, I'm just conflicted about Returnal.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons which I've already stated. But I had fun with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you with the conflicted feeling. I mean, again, like, especially now after taking a break, I don't know if I'll finish it.
Yeah. And if you're okay with that, that's cool. But I'm kind of the person who was like, I like to beat everything I play. I pretty much do.
Yeah, I try to.
Yeah.
But like
most people do, right?
Well, I actually,
would imagine.
I don't know.
Yeah, looking at trophy percentages, I don't think a lot of people beat a lot of things they play. It's fucking hilarious, actually.
I don't do like I don't really care too much about the trophies. Like
I was gonna bring that up later, but I have something to say about that. So go ahead.
But yeah, like I think I guess on that note, like there's like a completion percentage for each biome.
Yeah, like this is the first game that I've noticed to take actual make actual use of the tile system or whatever it is.
Yeah,
on the PlayStation 5 when you hit the home button and you can see like activities and like each like you can see the percentages for each gun, but like John was saying, like you can see percentages for each biome, but there's nothing in game telling you that. Yeah. So like Xbox kind of has like tracker percentiles, but like PlayStation never did, and this is kind of like their version of it, and it actually is useful.
Yeah. I know, like...
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's cool. Like, well, I think I'm like 96% completed for like the first biome.
Yeah,
like,
I finished the first one.
I don't know. I guess you just have to like see like every inch of like every like stage or something.
So here's the issue. It's a lot RNG based. There's a lot of maps that eventually will appear in the biome, but like some don't. And Crimson Wastes, I am like, I need 4 more xenoglyphs, and I cannot fucking find them because I'm pretty much getting fucked by RNG because I'm like, I have to go through the first biome, and then I gotta go into Crimson Waste, and I'm like, all right, let's see if they're here. And I trek through the whole thing. Yeah. I only found maybe 1, and I'm like, now I gotta do it again. And like that's kind of the thing. It's like the trophies are pretty much 100% completion. I don't know if you looked at them. And there's a hidden third act. You beat the game, and there's a epilogue kind of part. We can talk about that. We haven't talked about the story at all, but I definitely want to. We got to touch on it a little bit. Yeah. So I'm doing that third act, and then I'm just, doing 100% completion. I'm trying to do them in order, and I'm just like, don't make me like want to go to like the third biome. Like I just want to finish this one. Like please. Like, and this is kind of like, well, I wish they had a system that maybe made it so that I don't know, I can just spawn right into Crimson Wastes, and like I think that would make my life a lot easier. If I didn't have to trek through overgrown ruins like 30 fucking times, and like sometimes I'm going through the whole thing just to get like, I'm just like, like this is where the game gets just like, it like it's part of the run, but like it's also just like, this is annoying if you're like a completionist or like in your case or both of our cases with Nemesis, getting back to that the final boss of Act 1, it's like, holy shit, like I just keep getting like the RNG is just killing me here. Like I just keep getting nailed, like trying to get there. I'm not even getting to the boss.
Right. Yeah. I feel like they could do like a post game thing where
that just makes it easier.
Yeah. Like if you beat the game, maybe
I should be able to do more.
You should be able to like utilize those cards. Like I know in Demon Souls, you can you just like go to one of the cards, like one of your missions or whatever in Demon Souls, like for all the different tombstones, you can just like hit square to like resume, and it'll just like load you up in that area. Like I think for Returnal it would make sense to do that as like a post game like unlock.
Yeah, right, because you beat the game. Okay, maybe you haven't finished the third act, but you know, it's part of the exploration thing. You're like, they know, like, at this point, like, you've beaten the game, you can go play the other bosses. Right. I kind of agree with you. I kind of feel like that should be an update they should put in. Because at this point, I'm just like, I don't know when I'm going to platinum this, but I'm just kind of getting sick of playing it because I'm just having a tough time getting this shit to spawn. So it's kind of like killing my, like, trophy run experience.
Yeah.
And it's not like I have to go kill bosses. I just have to, again, trek through the zone. It's not like, oh, like... Most of the guns, the like little unlocks you can get, I have them all. Like I've been looking for guns that I have to unlock stuff on, and it's like every gun I come across, I have pretty much 100%, and it's just like,
I guess I can only imagine certain things that they didn't put in the game, like it's like for like story continuity reasons, like the whole like, you know, the whole cycle thing, like gets in the way of these. Like ease of use, quality of life type things that they could add to the game. The whole like cycle aspect, I don't know, did that ever cross your mind, like the fact that like you literally like resurrect, like, and then, well, just how do I want to explain it, just like kind of popping in to like a biome kind of like contradicts like the continuity of like
in
the
the
whole
story
cycle.
Yes, it
thing.
does. But again, that's where I think we're going back to like, okay, you've beaten the game, you've kind of earned these things that, you know, you wouldn't have otherwise. But you're right.
I feel
you're
like
100% correct.
Doing that would be like a, I don't know,
immersion breaking.
Yeah, or like something like that. That's kind of that. I know that crossed my mind, and that would like for me that would be like a reason to not like make any changes like that.
Sure,
because continuity is cool.
Speaking of continuity, so I know the story's kind of wacky, and you're only halfway through, so you're still kind of in the midst of like what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be honest, until the ending, you're kind of in the midst of what the fuck is going on until literally the end of the game. How are you enjoying playing as Celine and this whole White Shadow thing and trying to figure out like what is actually going on here?
Yeah, I like the story. That's part of the reason why I want to keep playing.
To see it through to the end.
Yeah, like
kind of like Celine is trying to do.
Yeah. I like the whole like first person segments in the house. The only reason I don't like them is because I feel like the game lags when you go first person. Like the frames start to chop. That was another criticism I had. I feel like the first person segments were cool, but I'm like, why do I feel like the game is just like not made to do this? Yeah. I guess it's tough because, I mean, obviously, like, especially when you're in combat, like, the camera pulls back quite a bit.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, like...
I don't think I noticed that.
Well, there's certain, like, you know, like, the corridors, like, in between, like, stages that open up, like, randomly well, all the stages open up randomly, but like these little corridors that just they
there's
just have a translocator in them.
Yes, yeah.
The camera does pull in like more of like an over the shoulder camera view, like in those corridors, and then
I
when
didn't
you
notice that.
yeah, like, and then it pulls back when you're like in a normal like stage and you're fighting. So I can like when it goes first person, like you're just that much closer to like the textures, I guess, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what kind of systems they have, but I can only assume like when the camera does pull back, like maybe like the texture resolution like scales a little bit, like when it comes back. But like when you're super up close, like you want like super high res.
It's not the well, it's even more so with the scaling. Like it scales even more because you're close up.
Yeah. And I don't know because I know there's like mirrors. Like when you look in a mirror in first person mode, like that gets choppy.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like ray trace reflections.
Good like context like clues idea. I don't think I would have thought of that, but you're probably onto something.
Yeah, I'm not sure like how far they push the ray tracing, but like I can only assume like when it goes first person, just like being that close to like the textures makes like pushes the console more. But yeah, I did notice that as well. But yeah, like obviously it reminds me of PT.
Yeah.
In there.
Yeah. That hallway specifically, I'm like, this is so PT inspired.
Yeah, like they even have like on that dresser at the end of the hall or whatever.
Yeah, it
like,
looks exactly like the dresser from PT.
They have like the photo on there.
Yeah. Yeah, with the clock. I mean, it's not there. Actually, there might be a clock on that, but the clock is like on the left in like that other hallway.
Yeah.
So I imagine you don't want to hear the ending.
No.
Okay,
If
so
anything, like,
this is a spoiler-free, review for the most part. But the ending is pretty, okay,
like
yeah. I guess that makes sense, right? It's kind of like it's not like it doesn't like throw you for a loop, but like it's like
I mean, I guess I can.
The picture becomes clear. I should say.
Maybe I'll just say what I think happens.
Okay, I will. No facial reaction.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah.
I mean, like. It won't bum me out like if like you do tell me.
I mean, you said for me to not. So
I know, but like
won't.
I might change my mind in like a minute.
Okay, we'll see.
But yeah, like I obviously the more like you find like the voice recordings from like the other
runs.
Yeah, and like she's progressively kind of like losing it.
Yeah. Yeah, some very much so.
Yeah,
others not.
There's like, I know there's mention in some of the glyphs about like creator/destroyer, and at first I thought that was like another version of Celine that's like still alive or something.
Me and John just heard like a pounding. My neighbor is outside doing yard work. I feel like that's what it is. But, like, it's creepy that we just heard it. I mean, he's, like, right over there. All right. It's Celine.
But, yeah, like, at first I thought it was her, like, and, like, maybe one of her, like, initial versions of herself is, like...
evil?
Well, yeah, but I guess I don't know, maybe that doesn't make sense because, like, Celine only, like, resurrects when she dies. So I guess, like, an older version of herself still, like, it's not possible for her.
Two versions of her to be in one run, right?
Yeah. And then, well, I guess the creator destroyer is probably the astronaut. Like, I think I did get to a point where, like, she even, like, says that. She does say that. I was kind of on to that. Who the astronaut is, like, she mentioned her mom.
Even as somebody who beat the game, I'm pretty sure it's her mom.
Yeah.
The astronaut plays a part into it, but like it is ambiguous about like what exactly it is. I think you're correct because again, it's still up for a lot of this game is up to interpretation. Mm-hmm. I think interpreting the astronaut as her mom is correct.
Okay. I like on that end, like, the planet, like wherever you
Atropos.
are. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I actually forgot the name.
Yeah, the name. You know what's funny? That's like a name I've heard in Final Fantasy a bunch. I've never really known how to say it.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh, Atropos. Yeah, I know. I've heard that one before.
It doesn't really like. It doesn't feel good to say.
Atropos.
Yeah.
I wonder what it means.
I don't.
It's definitely like it's got to be like some like Greek
Exactly.
Latin word.
Yeah.
It's got to mean something.
So it seems,
Especially with this game.
It seems that the planet, like whatever the planet does, it's like manifesting her memory. That kind of seems like because unless she's like imagining stuff, like how is her house there?
Right. How are there audio logs of like her, like there are a few, I don't know if you've gotten these tapes, like she's in like therapy or something.
Okay.
Like there are tapes that like are not from the planet.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that were taped, and not even necessarily that they were taped, but like things that happened to her while she was like on Earth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like random everyday things. There are things where she's just like talking.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like the planet's doing some kooky stuff, like manifesting her memories, which could, I mean, explain the astronaut. Like maybe the astronaut like didn't exist until she like approached the planet or something.
There's one part I wish you got to because I think it'd be funny just to bring up, but I can't bring it up.
Is it like it's huge?
No, it's not at all.
Oh.
It's just when you see it, you'll go,
Well,
what?
It doesn't
And then
have
you
to
go,
do with the astronaut?
no.
Oh.
It actually it has something to do with the end and only the fact that this thing is just there. It did like if I told you about it, wouldn't really spoil anything except for when you see it and you'll be like,
see, well, those are the things I like don't want spoiled.
yeah, you'll when you see it, you'll cock your head and you'll go, wait, what?
Okay.
Am I reading that correctly? And then you go, oh, yeah, I'm reading this correctly.
It's toward the end?
It's in the second act, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean, probably doesn't have anything to do with what you're talking about, but it did cross my mind. Like, some of those, I don't know, like the holograms, those projections that you can unlock in certain stages.
Yes, the other player's dying. Yeah.
Not only that, but like the alien, like holograms.
Oh, there's a word that they use to describe them. Oh. Yeah.
I forget.
Okay, so basically there's these big circle rooms with like holographic like murals.
Yeah,
from the
historic,
planet.
Historic events. And
If I think of the word, I'll tell you.
One of them has the astronaut in it.
There's a lot. They get trippier as you go.
Yeah. Well, I
yeah.
do like those. Like those things are really sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the story bits are my favorite part, really.
Yeah, I do like the story, and I think even if I were to tell you what I think the game is, I don't even think really spoils it necessarily.
Yeah, yeah.
But I unless you want me to tell you, I won't. I like want to talk about it, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want to ruin it for you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really care. I get because I might not beat it anyway. This is kind of how I've been with Nier Replicant.
Yeah,
because my boss at work has been playing, and he just like told me the whole story the other day, and it, like.
Sometimes I'll hear endings and I'll be like, I won't play the game like Resident Evil 8.
Yeah.
Like I'm playing the whole series through, so I will get to 8 at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, I kind of know what happens in 7, and I was like watching 8. I watched the ending of 8, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It didn't like ruin it for me. Like I didn't really care because I'm gonna play it so long from now, I might like forget.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you if you want me to.
Yeah, I mean, if you're stoked on talking about it, by all
I just
means.
think it's interesting. So
Yeah.
and like you can again, I won't tell you what happens in between, but what happens with the ending, what actually occurred, is so you find out that, and I think you've seen some of the stuff already. There's a car crash. And Celine is driving her daughter, and she sees the moon and says, "Do you see the white shadow?" And Celine's driving. She sees, like, she hears what she says. She looks in the mirror and she turns the mirror, like she doesn't even want to look at her daughter. and then they're on this bridge, and she sees the astronaut in the middle of the road, and she turns the car and plummets into the water.
Is this a cutscene?
This is the end, literal the end of the game. But you might have seen some of this stuff already.
The water.
Yeah, there's a lot of tells and the white shadow thing. And like that's the ending. That's it. But like what happens in between, I think is some more interesting stuff. And I left some details out, like the thing I mentioned earlier. I don't want to tell you because when you say it, you'll be like, what?
So she says the white shadow.
Her daughter does.
Oh.
Her daughter says it. And her daughter, I don't think is named, but Helios is almost represented as like a person. Like you're leaving Helios. Like she keeps talking about Helios as it's like not just the ship name. It's like something else. And like my interpretation based on that is I don't think any of this is actually happening. I think this is all a figment of Celine's imagination. You find out through the logs that she is like, I don't even know if Astra's a real company. Like she works for somebody and she got like declined being a scout. And I'm like, well, she like isn't a scout. So how I find it a little far fetched that she stole a ship and just went to a fucking planet.
I did read that like ship log or whatever.
Yeah. And it's just like, the game really leaves a lot to the imagination. I think that's the cool part of this game. And
I mean, that's my favorite type of thing.
And I feel like even though you're still going through it and you know the ending now, it's just like, I don't think that spoils it for you. Because like
not at all. I mean, that's like it's almost like better that I know that. That's so sick.
Right, because now you're looking at it through a different lens and like everything you hear and it's interesting and like there's like it's cool. It's cool that the ending is just so simple as like, oh, the picture's now clear. But there are stuff like the astronaut. Like, who the fuck's the astronaut? Is it her mom? Why does she see the astronaut in the middle of the road? Like, there's really no explanation for it.
Yeah, like, is something going on in her life where she's like having like hallucinations or something? Like,
and that's kind of where I think it's like she seems so unhinged from this all that I feel like the only logical sense is like none of this is actually happening and she's just imagining this.
I mean, and
maybe she works for like NASA or something. Like maybe she works for some like, well, clearly her mom did.
Yeah.
So, like it just seems all to be a figment of her imagination. And in the house, have you just played as Celine? Okay. There's a segment where you play as a little girl, and it's hard to tell if who it actually is. And I'm like, oh, it's. Like at this point, like even still, like I'm thinking back to the segments and I'm like, is it Celine or is it Celine's daughter? But like Celine's daughter's never talked about. Usually just talking about Celine and her mom. Like it's weird. Like the creator destroyer thing. Thinking about it like that. Now that you know the ending, mother creates, mother killed her daughter. Yeah. So is Celine the creator, the destroyer? Like there's a lot. It's a lot to kind of like intake. Like it's not a game like you're gonna beat and then you'll be like, yeah, I know everything now. It's like Death Stranding. Like you finish Death Stranding and it's like, holy shit, it's gonna take me like 4 years to figure this one out. Like literally.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, well, to go back to Twin Peaks and David Lynch, like that's why like I got into David Lynch is because like everything is open ended and like. Some things are explained, but like the core of the show, the core of like a lot of the movies and stuff that I've seen of him, it's open-ended, like not explained.
Yeah.
And like leaves you thinking, and that's like those are the best stories.
Yeah, that's what I like a lot about Kojima, what I like a lot about Zack Snyder and like his superhero movies. Like there's like it's not necessarily like just laid out to you. A lot of it's like look at the deeper things. There's a lot of symbolism and meaning behind those symbols and like how does that relate back to the story? Like, I kind of agree with you. Those are my favorite kind of stories. But this Returnal is very simple. It doesn't get like it gets deep, but not like too deep. Where I feel like a lot of people, anyone who beat it, could like kind of sit down and like, what did I just play, and like think about all the things that happened and how does it correlate into that one event? Yeah, what does all that mean? And again, it's up to interpretation, and I don't think we're gonna, I don't know what happens at the end of Act 3 either.
Yeah,
so that's another point of the game I haven't seen. I have no idea what.
Are you gonna play to get that? Or
yeah. I gotta get all these trophies. At some
I'll probably
point.
watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. So pretty much what you have to do for Act 3 is go through all the biomes and you find this. It's not a sundial. It's like a stone sun thing. You have to find every biome has one. So you have to go back to all the biomes, find this thing, and that's how you unlock it.
Oh.
So for those who don't know, that's not really a spoiler.
I didn't know that.
The game doesn't really tell you that there's a third act, but there is.
Yeah. Of course I saw it on like IGN.
How to unlock third act,
dude. Yeah. Like those videos, like the articles come out like before the game comes out. Like how to get the secret ending of this game that hasn't released yet.
I think I saw the fact that there was like more of it, like an ending. Like I think I saw that there were like multiple endings, which isn't true. It's just like the epilogue secret ending. It's like, okay, cool. Like this game seems like it would have that. Yeah. So I don't think I got like totally spoiled on that, but I get what you mean. Yeah. That shit kind of gets annoying. Yeah. It's like, how to unlock best ending for Mass Effect 3. It's like, it's been out for 7 years. Yeah. I mean, do we need that article again?
Yeah, it's weird too. Like the games that I'm like really looking forward to that have those articles, like for a game that has like multiple endings, I probably won't even see the multiple endings, but I don't really want to know yet that there are multiple endings.
Right. You want to get there, have your ending, and be like, okay, like what else can fucking happen?
Exactly.
So I think the only thing I wanted to bring up that we didn't is the guns. I feel like I kind of like the selection of weapons. Some are harder to use and a little more interesting than others and underpowered, but I feel like the selection of weapons is pretty varied.
Yeah, they did a pretty nice job with like having basically every like gun type you'd expect.
Right.
But then having like variations on that.
My favorite gun was the Hollow Seeker.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Hollow Seeker is your best friend.
It's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah. Like it's just like, would I run into the boss fight with the fucking like the rocket launcher, thermal, whatever it is?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, that can be like
good,
nice,
but yeah, for the boss fights, you need something more like not streamlined, like consistent.
Yeah, you have like full like control, like. The fact that like it's just like an automatic weapon, like you feel like there's nothing like up to chance. Like you're not gonna miss. Like you're gonna miss, but you don't have to wait for a reload or anything.
Right. And then you got the portals that come out with some of the upgrades, and then there's the bullets that fly off, which every gun has. I like the pistol too. That was one of my favorites. Like the first gun you get.
Yeah.
The modified sidearm.
When you get further along and have like, you know, your level like 11 or whatever, like the pistol is good. It's nice that like the pistol doesn't like, I guess every weapon can like scale up and be useful like as you progress in your run.
Yeah, even like I wasn't a big fan of the rod launcher thing.
Yeah.
And then, but like some versions of it, I'm like, oh wow, this thing's really good.
It kind of can be sick.
Yeah, I feel every gun has like the potential to be good. And then some guns, it's like, I don't like the proximity mine thing. It's like, okay, I won't pick this up. And there are some guns you haven't seen yet. So one of the weird ones is the Dreadbound.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, some of the there's not too many guns left, but there are some in the second act, which you'll find. And then there's like you're constantly finding new upgrades and stuff.
Yeah.
And like I feel like the best part about this game is like trying to find out like what your best like loadout is and like what fits your play style the best and what's going to help you get through the game the best, and like, okay, like what augments and suit things you want to make sure you find before you go to boss. Like the low integrity recharge I think is like absolutely needed for boss fights.
Okay.
Because like it'll just kind of like, if you're low, there's usually no way to heal unless you have like the healing things.
Yeah.
That made me just think of like, how, do you like how everything is named so strangely? Ooblites and syphilium and like all these other words.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not just integrity. Health is integrity. Like,
yeah,
it's interesting that they switch up. Like, it could have just been health.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be this like rock name. Like,
yeah,
right?
no, I do appreciate that. I mean, like, that was someone's job to get like really like creative.
Somebody sat in a room and was
Yeah.
like, think of a fucking word.
Yeah, I know. I do like that. Like the gun names, like having like crazy gun names. I guess that like you have to have that.
Right. But the items are a different story.
Yeah.
They're immersive. Going back to that word.
Yeah. Like
It's a good word to use.
because
I
you're
like
on
immersive.
you're on an alien planet, and there's like a civilization there. Like you want things to kind of like
Be
seem
alien.
like foreign. Yeah.
So the last thing I'll kind of say to wrap it up, I would compare this game to, you've seen Prometheus, right? Mm-hmm. This game is like Prometheus the game, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Like outside of Alien Isolation, where you're like actually like
Yeah.
in like the Prometheus area.
Yeah, so for those who don't know what Prometheus is like one of the most recent Ridley Scott alien movies that's like a prequel to the original, and they land on the planet where they find the alien and everything is super alien and they have no fucking idea what's going on. Like that's what like a few hours into the game and I'm like, this feels like Prometheus.
Mm-hmm.
Like just the way the ship looks, the way Celine's outfit is, like just the way the art style is, and the way the Severed, the aliens look. I'm like, this is very Prometheus. And Prometheus is like, gets a lot of flack, but I really like Prometheus as an alien movie, and as an alien fan. So yeah. If you're into that kind of thing, if you're into that kind of sci-fi, I think Returnal is. I probably should have said this at the top, but whatever. Returnal is definitely a game for you. But if the gameplay standpoint, it's punishing. You're going to be doing a lot of the same things over and over again. You need to like expect that before getting in. And like, there's a good chance you might not even finish the game, which I feel like, again, like to John's point, like a lot of people probably won't. Yeah. I think this is a very hard game to finish. Yes. But yeah, John, any closing thoughts for us?
The music's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a music head, I figured I should have asked you that, but
yeah,
good thing you brought it up.
Yeah, the composer is like the movie Midsummer.
I do.
It's the same composer.
No way.
Yeah.
Composers is such a small world. They all get around now these days.
I mean, it's just cool. Like this dude, his like stage name, like where he like started getting known. He's like an electronic dude. Mm-hmm. The Haxon Cloak. I forget. Yeah,
that's a stage name.
That's like his electronic project. I forget his
actual name.
Yeah, it's like I don't remember.
I added the OST to my soundtracks playlist.
Yeah,
it's a pretty short. Like it's not a lot.
Yeah.
It's not like a 20-track list. It's
right.
It's more like 8.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense for the game. Like, and I mean, I guess like the soundtrack versus like the in-game score is probably like a little different. Just like how it's presented. But yeah, he's good. Good music. It definitely adds to like the immersion. Like completely matches like the game and like the environment and everything. And I might have had something else, but I forget.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But so even though you haven't finished the game, I know you've kind of mentioned it, but you do like it.
Yeah. Like the first week it came out, I was super stoked. Like it's definitely a sick game. Yeah, really solid. Like nothing. Like everything that's there, like makes sense in a way. Like
it feels a little original.
As far as like a package, like a full like game. We're talking about a game here. Yeah, it's
no. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
It's good. It's a good game.
Cool. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this hot take of Returnal. Thank you. You can watch us live when we're live at twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network. You can follow us over on Facebook and Twitter, or Instagram and Twitter at Delco Nerds. Facebook is Delco Nerd Network, facebook.com/Delco Nerd Network. You can find most of this information at our website, delconerdnetwork.com, as well as you can watch this on podcast services, on YouTube, in video form. Just search Delco Nerd Network. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, usually whatever podcast service you like, we're probably on it. We have a Discord too. It's also on our website. You can go get the link for that. We talk about all sorts of shit, games, movies, whatever's happening in the in the world. That's it. Jon, thanks for coming, man.
Thank you.
Stay nerdy, guys. We'll see you.